All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the Rotary Club of El Paso. Very excited to be here. If you guys could tell our background, we have something very special here. And in a second, we're going to introduce our pop-up guest. We'll tell you a little bit more about it here in just a second. I'm excited to have Ray Cox from all the way from Katy, Texas, who will kick off our invocation and four-way test and the pledge for us. So Ray, I don't know if you're unmuted already. Go ahead and do that and kick us off with traditions.
All right. Lead the invocation. Thank you, Father, for the gifts of Rotary and each other. May we be ever mindful of those in need. Help us to provide food to the hungry, to heal the wounds of hatred with love, comfort those in sorrow, bring peace to those living in areas of unrest. Through our service to all, we thank you for all our gifts. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better
friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Great, thank you so much. I love this virtual meetings that no matter where you're at, you could still log in. Matt logged in from his vacation and you're out of town. So thank you so much for helping this out. And guys, very excited to be here. Next to me is Shannon Woodruff, who is manager of events and marketing here at the Plaza Hotel. And Shannon, if you could wave to our Rotarians.
Hello, nice to meet you.
This is a beautiful place, and Shannon was kind enough to give us a tour and make sure that we're going to be showing the video of the quick tour, give you guys a highlight of the hotel. Make sure your volume's up and look for that second screen because I'm going to put a video here that gives you a heads up on the Plaza Hotel and its beauty. And thank you, Shannon, for putting this tour together for us. Thank you so much. So here we go, guys.
Hi, I'm Shannon Woodruff, and I'm the marketing and event manager for the Plaza Hotel, Pioneer Park in El Paso, Texas. And I'm here to take you all at the Rotary Club for your meeting on a quick little tour. And here we are in the lobby / El Paso's living room. This is the entrance to the hotel. It is absolutely beautiful and amazing. As you can see behind me, it has more of a cozy feel, and it's meant to be a place where you and your friends and family can come enjoy a cocktail or enjoy a nice cup of coffee and just hang out and enjoy everything that El Paso has to offer. And welcome to Ambar Restaurant. This is both a bar and a restaurant. What you see behind me is our bar and our Ambar tequila wall. This includes one of the largest collections of agave spirits in the entire country. If you look up above me, there's also the original chandeliers and original beamwork. Now we're in Ambar Restaurant. Hi, I'm Shannon Woodruff, and I'm the marketing and event manager for the Plaza Hotel, Pioneer Park in El Paso, Texas. And I'm here to take you all at the Rotary Club for your meeting on a quick little tour. And here we are in the lobby / El Paso's living room. This is the entrance to the hotel. It is absolutely beautiful and amazing. As you can see behind me, it has more of a cozy feel, and it's meant to be a place where you and your friends and family can come enjoy a cocktail or enjoy a nice cup of coffee and just hang out and enjoy everything that El Paso has to offer. And welcome to Ambar Restaurant. This is both a bar and a restaurant. What you see behind me is our bar and our Ambar tequila wall. This includes one of the largest collections of agave spirits in the entire country. If you look up above me, there's also the original chandeliers and original beamwork. Now we're in Ambar Restaurante. This is our main restaurant at the lobby level of the hotel. It includes elevated Mexican modern cuisine and is led by executive chef Padilla. It's absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorites is the tacos El Cabon. It's to die for. Here we are in the Perla, the 17th floor rooftop bar and restaurant at the Plaza Hotel, famously known for being the penthouse where Elizabeth Taylor lived. As you can see behind me, we have amazing views and beautiful terraces. And the views just keep on going. As you can see, this is the highest rooftop bar and restaurant in El Paso and offers almost a 360 view of the entire area. Thank you, Rotary Club of El Paso, for joining me on the tour today. Come visit us soon at the Plaza Hotel Pioneer Park and Ambar Restaurant.
Shannon, thank you so much for this tour.
Thank you. You're more than welcome. Glad to be in here.
And Rotary will be planning events here in the future. It's a very beautiful place, so we have a great contact with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you all as well.
All right, guys. Well, I think now the good thing, I could take this mask off, but I hope you guys enjoy that. This place is really cool. I mean, when this is all over, guys, this is a great place for us to have our kickoff party. It could be a fundraiser that we're back to live meetings, so looking forward to that. Next up is, let me update the presentation here. Last week, we kicked off our first pop-up project. It was the Pen Pal project, where we're writing letters to a retirement and elderly facility, assisted living facility. These people are pretty lonely and they're looking for people to interact with. And we had a calling last week for volunteers, and we were just overwhelmed by the number of volunteers. We're very excited. Arlene, I think you have some letters already in the office, but if you guys are interested in this opportunity, send me an email and we'll get you signed up as well. Very great opportunity for us to do our mission to be the premier community-based organization in El Paso. And shout out to Andy and Carlos for putting that video together for us. These guys are doing a phenomenal job. I mean, what a great video, very amazing stuff. Something similar to the Plaza Hotel, the Amber Restaurant. Andy, who is committee chair of the Public Image Committee, he landed us some giveaways, a gift certificate for 2 for Amber Restaurant, which is a restaurant here at the Plaza Hotel. So it's my understanding that at the end of this meeting, we're going to do a raffle, and Arlene's going to pick a name. One of the participants from this meeting will get a lunch for 2 for Amber Restaurant. So whoever wins it has to invite us for lunch or somehow. But looking forward to it. And I think here in a second, Jimmy Melver has an announcement. But before we get to that, remember, guys, dues, pay your dues. I think those dues are really coming in. We're probably about, I want to say like 70, 80%, guys. Make sure you submit the payment for your dues. We're struggling here with some finances because some of our signature events have been postponed. So, Jimmy, I could open up the mic here for you, and I think you have an announcement for us. Jimmy, you might be still on mute. That's okay. We could circle back later on in the program and go back to that. But also, guys, let me see how we're doing on time. A great opportunity to get to know our members. We're doing this member series. And last week we had Jack Maxson, and this week we have Warren Goodell, and he was kind enough to do a video for us. And it's a great way to see what Rotarians have been up to. And this video is asking Warren, why is Rotary important to you? So I'm gonna play that here. And Jimmy, we could circle back to you here shortly on your announcement.
Hi, my name's Warren Goodell, and I'm the Executive Director of the Kelly Center for Hunger Relief in El Paso, Texas. I'm also proud to be a member of the Rotary Club of El Paso, and I wanted to say a few words about why that's important to me. First, it's the people. Rotary has just the best people in the world. They join the Rotary because they want to make a difference in this world, and then they actually go out and do it. It's just a tremendous environment. It also has the advantage of being able to mix and match skills and experiences, so that for any project there is an enormous resource of people who know just the right way to do it, just the right things to ask, and how to make it all work for the benefit of the community. Rotary is, above all else, an organization dedicated to making El Paso just an incredibly vibrant community, one in which we're proud to live, and one in which we know that we're out there helping people in need. Rotary has a number of other benefits, of course. We have speakers every week, and they bring to us a much deeper understanding of our community, how it works, who's doing what, how we can get involved. And, you know, bottom line is Rotary is all about people making a difference in their community.
Thank you, Warren. You're exemplary, a Rotarian, and I'm sure you're super busy right now. We can't wait to be able to assist you here. And I also want to recognize some of the guests. Erica Loceto, marketing manager at Socorro Independent School District, is joining us, and she's interested in learning more about Rotary. So Erica, welcome to our Rotary Club. And Jimmy, I don't know if you're unmuted, but.
Thanks for having me.
Erica, glad to have you here. And Jimmy, I don't know if you're available, but you said you had an announcement?
Yes, I am. Yes. Good afternoon. This is Jimmy Melville. I'm the assistant governor. I wanted to let you all know that the El Paso clubs and Anthony are trying to collect toys and diapers for the kids in Gallup, New Mexico. And deadline is next Saturday. And if you could deliver to United Blood Service on Mesa Hills, Martin Gomez is a contact person. If you would kindly donate toys and diapers if you can. On a sad note, one of our members, Frank Baum, some of you might know Frank. He's been a member of Rotary for some 30 years. His wife, Rose, passed away yesterday. So please keep Frank Baum in your prayers. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Jimmy, thank you for letting us know, and our condolences to his entire family. And if you could send us the detail for the project you mentioned, we'll be glad to share it and provide assistance. All right, so coming up, I'm going to hand it over to Mark Mathis, who's VP of Programs, done an excellent job, and we're very excited to hear about today's speaker. So Mark, take it away.
Very good. Welcome, Rotarians and guests. You know, we were looking at the program schedule for this year. I kind of had this theme called the future of everything. And we have a lot of topics that look over the horizon and to what our lives may be like in the not so distant future. And one of those, of course, is healthcare. And I've known about this organization for about 2 years, watched them develop their product line and some of their solutions. And it's just really, really exciting to me to think about the potential for what this company can bring to our lives and to our healthcare system. So it's really my pleasure to have Tim Washburn on today. He is a business person and registered nurse. He's a nurse leader, has more than 25 years of experience. So today his role and his mission are to deliver sustainable, proven, customer-driven solutions that can support improved patient outcomes, improve communication between the care team members, and improve provider satisfaction. And it does that through delivery of high-value care at an affordable cost. So he made the move to electronic caregiver from the clinical leadership environment, and his goal is to advance the use of artificial intelligence, AI, and health technology to effectively support aging in place, as well as assisting providers both at the point of care and at the community health level. So Tim says he believes this is critical to effectively managing the ever-growing healthcare needs faced in the US and throughout the world. And it can't be achieved just through the application of AI or technology alone. It requires a targeted and intelligently designed system that leverages people, process, and technology to support the provision of the right care at the right time in the right place. So Washburn earned his BSN at SUNY, Utica Rome Institute of Technology, and his MBA HCM at Western Governors University. So my pleasure to introduce and welcome to our meeting, Tim Washburn.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Can you guys hear me? I know in the new world, you got to do a mic check every time you open your mouth. You good?
Yep. Good,
okay,
Tim.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So thanks for having me. It's a subject I love to talk about, and I love to work in healthcare. Electronic Caregiver is a Las Cruces, New Mexico-based, nationally represented company. We're a health technology company by trade. The team is really focused on how do you do healthcare in a new world when there's not enough nurses, not enough doctors, and my mom wants to live at home until she dies. And that's all about providing safe, effective solutions, leveraging technology, recognizing the limitations of our health system, really coordinating an effort around that. Been around since 2009. We currently have 3 products in the field. 4 products in the field. We're developing 2 more. And you'll get a video that talks a little bit about that. And I'm going to talk about healthcare after I show you the video. I was asked to talk about the future of healthcare, what we know and what we don't know. So I think we're getting a sense, whether we like it or not. A little bit about how it impacts small businesses and communities. And then a little bit about infectious disease, which of course, depending on who you ask, you get a completely different answer at every government level. On the internet, my first suggestion, stop looking at the internet. Just stop. Most of it's at best partially true. So anyway, with that, what I'd like to start with I was asked to do 3 questions. So I'm going to ask the questions, but I'm not going to answer. I'm going to force you to listen. Business 101, sales 101. So my first question for you to ponder, no cheating. Don't Google while you're ignoring the rest of my presentation. What percentage of healthcare dollars are spent on chronic illness management, roughly? What percentage of health dollars are spent on chronic illness management in the United States? When was the first form of telehealth actually put in place? When was the first used telehealth in the United States? And what percentage of treatment failures are caused by non-adherence? What percentage of treatment failures are caused by non-adherence? With that, I'm going to have my CEO, through a video, if I do this right, so we're going to try it here, actually do the video.
Digital health technology is transforming the way we care for chronic illnesses, for our aging, and for our child patients.
Hi there. Nice to see you again. I'm Addison. Welcome to Addison Care.
It's upgrading how we provide support for both our patients and our caregivers. Digital health is dramatically improving treatment adherence, health outcomes, and the continuum of care.
You wanted me to tell you when it's time to take your medications. Do you want to take them now? No problem. I'll snooze your reminder for 15 minutes.
With the chronically ill, we're able to improve treatment adherence using scheduled interactive reminders and processes to encourage and confirm patient accountability and progress. We can not only make sure a patient is on track with medications, but we can spot the indications of improper dosing and even an adverse drug reaction.
While you are standing up, take a big deep breath and hold it for just a moment.
Through monitoring a multitude of vitals, physical and cognitive responses, motion analytics, and AI-powered sentiment analysis, we receive early identification of health decline and anomalies while measuring health stability and improvement. Through seamless connectivity, we can optimize the coordination of care by informing doctors and nurses and members of the family care circle of critical information in real time, thereby expediting early intervention and delivering powerful insights for more accurate treatment engagements.
Addison, I'm not feeling well. Can you let my mom know?
Okay, Chloe. I will let your mom know.
With the breakthrough new Addison virtual care system, caregiving takes a quantum leap forward. We're extending care from the doctor's 4 walls to the home, powered by technologies in collaboration with Intel. We're able to upgrade the doctor's health file, provide visibility into the patient's condition, and during an office exam, the doctor instantly accesses an abundance of insights equal to weeks or months of concentrated, organized observational research. With embedded visual sensing by Intel RealSense and an onboard Intel i5 processor, Addison is equipped with the ability to observe unprecedented levels of data with clinical-grade accuracy. Addison leverages both cloud and computing on the edge. In addition to patient feedback and physiological data, Addison processes comprehensive biomechanical information for gait balance and detailed activity performance. Addison is also designed to modernize how we intake, assess, manage, and discharge patients in hospitals, physical therapy facilities, doctors' practices, and in-home care situations. From chronic care to behavioral health to rehabilitation at home, Addison is transformational. In addition to integrated telehealth, automated in-home exams and health surveys, Addison also provides 24/7 on-demand emergency response through advanced wearables and voice. Addison doesn't just support safer, healthier living. Addison helps extend functional independence and improve health outcomes. Addison provides a spirited and exciting paradigm shift in voice and touch-based interactivity with connected health technologies.
I'm so excited to start working towards your health goals while getting to know each other in the process.
All right, so that's the video. You guys heard that, right? I just want to make sure. Now, before I go on to talk about the topic of healthcare, does anybody have any questions or anything that they have a question on electronic caregiver or what we do before I talk about the topic of the new healthcare paradigm? So everybody's got my phone number. I can put it in chat here after I'm done presenting, and I'm happy to talk to you guys. One of the things that actually came out after that, we have a system called OnePass. We have the ability to use an application to very affordable price scale that out. If you want help opening your school, you want help getting your stadium back open if you're a professional baseball team, there's things we can do that we can work with your fans or your students or your teachers or your employees. We'll talk a little bit about that in the topic, where we can do pre-screening at home, get that data to you, let you know if there might be an issue, and then even include telemedicine if needed, either directly through our devices or through a 1-800 number. So we're really tackling the problem of we've got to get back to work, because as much as everybody's got to live and we want that, we also have an economy that can't be destroyed without some pretty significant impacts on all the services and things we need to live. So anybody wants to talk about that after, happy to do so. With that, I'm going to kind of run down the topics here. One of the things I was asked to talk about was the future of healthcare. So in the United States, we've done just a horrible job on wellness. I've been a nurse for over, well, I don't know, so long it's really irrelevant, but really we have just sucked at wellness and preventative care. We're not good at it. We haven't been good at it. We talked about it 20 years ago. We incentivized more doctor visits and going to the hospital over reimbursement for going to a gym or taking your flu shot. And we are reaping the effects of that. Obesity is huge. What we saw recently is the concept of healthcare being this episodic thing that's done in a doctor's office. Suddenly with COVID, you really can't do that. You can't go visit your loved one in a hospital. It's we sort of loosened up, and now COVID's back, never left, that's a myth. But now we have all these issues. And so what we're seeing is a shift in the paradigm on healthcare, really, I think culturally, from I've got to go to the doctor's office. Often I'll wait 2 hours to see the doctor. I'm going to see him for 7 minutes, and then maybe he'll spend, of that 7 minutes, 3 minutes talking to me and 4 minutes on the computer. So I think what COVID has done is really pushed the envelope, both from a how do we operate as a clinician and from how we operate as a customer, The expectation is that, you know what, I want to be able to do a video interface like this, or call my doctor. I don't want to go to his office. I don't want to be next to the sick people. And that's just the classic. But it really has accelerated the concept of the right care at the right time in the right place, something our company believes deeply in. So I think even though you'll see a little bit of elasticity around telemedicine, which is that episodic televisit with a doc versus going to brick and mortar, I don't think you ever see that pendulum swinging back to where it was altogether. We're seeing payers cover telehealth, cover telemedicine in ways they didn't. We're seeing governments and municipalities requiring it. And we're seeing customers say, you know what, this is just a better fit for me, especially on those folks at risk. So I don't see that changing. One little qualification, people throw out the term telehealth all the time. If telehealth is being defined as only a telemedicine visit, you're missing the most important part, telehealth. The most important part of telehealth is not just that episodic visit. That's where telemonitoring combined with telemedicine creates this magical thing called telehealth. The ability to combine real-time actionable data provided to a provider with remote, episodic, and wellness care as needed through a single platform. And really, that's what telehealth is. And if you're wondering what everybody in the clinical world's trying to figure out, what we have figured out, but others are trying to as well, your own doctor maybe, they're trying to understand how they move the paradigm and really manage telehealth remotely, incorporating the telemonitoring piece. It's not going away. The government's all in on it. Remote patient monitoring, the Medicare benefit, just as an aside, everybody with straight Medicare has access through their doctor to covered health technology and in-home care coordination right now. So if you have Medicare and you would like to monitor your blood pressure because you have hypertension from home, the only thing in the way is me talking to your doctor, because literally it's a covered benefit. A lot of people don't realize that. But I don't want to make this a sales call. Like I said, I'll give you my contact information after. Really, the gold standard is telehealth, both telemonitoring and telemedicine. When we do that together right, we have proof it works, and I'm happy to share a link where we've already shown that. But we're not alone. Others are proving when you do it right, it works too. I want to pivot toward the reality of healthcare that we're seeing toward the small business impact. So one of the things that from my running clinics and other things I've learned is if you're an employer and you're paying premiums on the behalf of your employees, which is now required depending on your size, and it's not a bad thing, right? It's certainly a good thing. Reality is every time that employee goes to urgent care, every time that employee goes to the hospital, every time that employee goes to their doctor, there is a latent but a real impact on your healthcare premiums for the next year. One of the reasons you're seeing insurers, payers especially embrace telemedicine is they realize that what they're going to have to pay their doctor to visit to take care of that patient is far less on a remote setting than when that patient goes into the doctor's office. So a little caveat here, you as an employer know it'd be nice if there was better prevention, better wellness, and there was less episodic emergent care because it impacts your premiums next year. That's just the way it is. One of the services we offer is called Pocket MD. It's really a subscription service. The idea is we leverage telemedicine, access unlimited in a given month, to telemedicine through a group of providers. It wouldn't be your own provider, but again, if I have a cold, but it might be COVID, wouldn't it be nice if I could just talk to a doctor, go over the symptoms, and have that not be a $40 copay? And if I'm an employer, have that not hit against my premiums next year? The idea is globally, let's not get rid of that primary care provider or brick and mortar relationship. But again, let's leverage the right care at the right time in the right place. And really, the reality of healthcare is that whatever it was, it needed to be in some ways this a long time ago. And that's the evolution we're seeing. So it isn't as simple as it used to be. If you're an employer managing healthcare costs, and the only thing you're looking at is what are my premiums going to be next year, there's a lot of money you could probably save with a more nuanced approach. And that's one of the things that we can help you with. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about infectious disease. You know, something nobody's talking about, right? Nobody's heard of COVID. It's not a big deal. Depending on who you ask, that is exactly what you're hearing. And I will tell you as a clinician, that is patently false. Now, you've also heard it's the end of the world and the sky is falling and they just got the Aztec calendar wrong. That is also patently false. COVID is a very real disease, and it is significant and it is serious. It is more serious for some than others. However, it doesn't mean that we must all crawl under a rock and die. That is not the impact of COVID from a clinical, strategical, reasonable standpoint. So you've heard the CDC, not a bad source, one of the better ones, frankly, talk about masks, though it took them a while to get on board. You've heard them talk about washing your hands. You've heard them talk about social distancing. Just to level set for everybody, that's not new. So before there was COVID, you may have heard of another disease called influenza. Now, if anybody heard of that, there's another real disease that won't end the world, but is certainly important. All of the things we're doing for COVID actually apply very nicely to the flu, including if you don't feel good, don't go to work, right? So when I look at COVID, and I'll tell you what we did here for a real world perspective at the end of this. I look at COVID as this thing that has really reminded people of something pretty important. First, waiting 2 hours next to the sick person in the doctor's office is never a good idea. By the way, that was true before COVID. Just throwing that out there. Using telehealth, leveraging that as a part of the healthcare strategy for a person and for a business, critically important. It's just now there's a financial incentive. We talk about infectious disease, and you know, because you've heard about it, it's worse for those with chronic illness. Well, if we're not doing any kind of pre-screening, if we're having someone go to work and we check a temperature at the door, science is telling us it's a late or never sign. If that's the only thing you're doing, keep your business open, then you've probably let that employee into your business for anywhere from 2 to 7 days, spreading the disease, not understanding because you were only checking temperature. One of the things that's part of the nuance, and really part of infectious disease management 101 is, there's a lot, not a lot, but there's some things you look at when you're talking about diseases. Some people don't run a temperature with COVID or the flu. I never run a temperature, it's just me. But there's other symptomology you might look at. Do you have the chills? Do you have a headache? Or do you not feel good? So if you think about pre-screening as that thing that makes the most sense to do with your employees before they show up in front of your other employees, that's where the Protector Initiative and some of what you saw in the video comes in. If you think about opening a venue, it's great if you're collecting that information. Imagine if you could apply the concept of the TSA pre-screening to infectious disease. What if you had someone at home doing that pre-screening, and before they could go into the stadium, they had to be able to, on their phone, show that they did the pre-screening and that they don't have issues? We can do that today. So the idea is not that COVID is this thing that I personally, my personal views. We don't ignore it, but it's not the end of the world. We can't destroy our economy and starve to death. So we've got to come up with a way to manage it. I think you manage that. What we're really focusing on is the concept of pre-screening with an intelligently designed system to manage that population, alerting responsible parties, doctors, school health nurse, the health organization at a campus, a college, a parent, right? However you want to work it, we can do any of that when there is an issue. And then the last really important thing is the availability of immediate access to a doctor through telehealth. So we do that today. We're doing it at NMSU right this second. We have a demonstration project going on. That was covered in the news. Feel free to look at it. And we're doing it across different platforms and different organizations. Don't worry about us, though I want to talk to you about us because ultimately I can help your business in many different ways. But I want you to think about it from, if you're a business trying to stay open, first, don't just take a temp and think it's enough. It's not. That's a fallacy. You will kill people. You are part of the problem. You are part of the problem. But that doesn't mean you can't open. If you think about infectious disease or chronic illness management, if we go on the other side of this and say, look, I've got 10 employees. If I lose 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them because of COVID, they can't work. Now my business is in trouble. So sometimes it's the old adage, you pay for lights in your business so staff don't fall, trip, and they can't work, among other reasons. I think we got to look at infectious disease, COVID, the flu. Really, it doesn't matter. We have to look at it from how do we manage that? Now, how do we avoid it? It's in our world. It's around. It's going to be around. It will never be completely eradicated, in my opinion, because there will always be a reservoir. Somewhere it lives that if you're not careful, you don't get the right immunizations, whatever, suddenly you're exposed and now you don't have any immunity. And that's really how this works, just like the flu. So that's a lot. You guys have any questions or thoughts for me based on everything you just heard?
Hey, Tim, this is Mark. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
Oh, okay. All right. That definitely a lot to think about. I was curious on the, kind of the home care setting. How do you really get let's say the elderly patient over the hump with the willingness to cooperate with some of the technologies that you have? I mean, what are the best arguments to really convince them that that this is the right path for them?
Yeah, so most sales, and I guess I'm director of business development, so technically I'm a nurse, a salesman, a clinician, the HIPAA officer, and a little bit of a programmer. In other words, I'm a nurse. So I'm going to be honest with you in the first place. You don't save them all. You're not going to convince them all. So in healthcare, you may not hear about it from your clinician, but I'll tell you the truth. There's a bell curve like there is in most things. 10-15% of your patients, they're not like me. They're great patients. They take their medications. They follow through the doctor's orders. When they have anything go on, they call somebody, on and on and on. They don't need anything. You know what you do with them? Leave them alone. Thank them. Love them. Try to replicate them. Then you have 15% or so of your patients who, if you put a gun to their head, they will not change. They're going to smoke because that's what they do. They're going to drink beer because that's what they do. They're going to do drugs because that's what they do. So to answer your question, you got to really understand the dynamics. And by the way, this applies exactly to employees. So one thing before I forget, turns out we're all patients at some time or other, right? Healthcare is a personal choice. I don't know if anybody else here has a couple beers on a Friday night, but I think my camera's on. I do. I'm not sorry. It's choice, personal choice. So your employees are in the same boat. That's why I mentioned, how do you look at chronic illness as an employer? Is it this thing that doesn't matter, or do you understand you may have a really bright guy who's got diabetes? If that guy controls his diabetes, then he's going to be at work more. If he's at work more, you're not going to have to pay to replace him, on and on. So really, I tell folks, look at it a little different when you're thinking infectious disease or chronic illness with your employees. You can monetize and understand the actual cost, and we can help you understand that if you want. But on the home health side, how do you convince the elderly? By the way, 40% of all children under 18 in the United States have a chronic illness, at least one. Is that a staggering statistic to anybody? At least 40% of all children under 18 in the United States have a chronic illness, at least one. So this isn't an elderly problem, though certainly there's more, and therefore they have more chronic illness generally, So the reality is with home health, first thing you've got to consider is how easy is it to use. So anybody here love flipping through apps, like a long list of apps? Do you really enjoy repairing your headphones, your Bluetooth headphones. Is that a lot of fun? Do you really like getting on Zoom? Sometimes, just being honest, sometimes I don't like it at all. So one thing is the user interface. Obviously, it starts with, is the equipment easy to use? So like our Pro Health aimed at chronic illness, you plug it in, you turn it on. You follow directions which are spoken to you. You're done. There's no app with that. Now the family caregiver can have an app so that when your mom takes her vital signs, you, the daughter, can know in real time that her blood pressure was, with consent, 190 on 50. So part of it is user interface, part of it is culture, right? And I think the other part of it is, there's this myth out here. I remember when EMRs came out. I'm old enough to remember using an EMR for the first time. I remember the promise, oh, my life was going to be easier, and oh, it's just going to be so much. You know what it was? It is and was a total pain in the butt. It was ridiculous. Now they're a little better. But the other piece of that is, if I'm a home health or a home care or a doctor, what is the solution that the technology actually provides? It's not the tech. So our Pro Health is a wonderful device. I tell people all the time, all you want to talk to me about is how pretty my box is, and I'm happy to sell you a very expensive paperweight, but it isn't the tech. Tech is, well, it's not easy, but the tech is the easiest. It's how do I integrate the data, the usefulness, the workflow around that tech into a doctor or home care or home health practice. So even if I get the patient to say yes, if it's not helping the doctor, I haven't helped anybody. We don't do that, by the way. That's not, we don't do blind dump and run sales. It's not our thing. And then the other thing I would say, you mentioned they don't want to let people in because of COVID. Well, that's where one of the initiatives called OnePass, that venue protection, can come in. The Protector Initiative is aimed at home health companies. Get your staff to take this, to report the vitals, to answer the questions, so that if I walk up to a patient's house, I can show them, I'm okay, right? Now, nobody's asked yet, but you will. But Tim, aren't some people asymptomatic? Yep. So I have a question for you. If I can only prevent 80% of the spread, shouldn't I do that? So I get this all the time, but Tim, you can't guarantee it. Nope. I can't guarantee there's not a plane hurtling toward my head right now on the 10th floor in the building I'm at. But I can tell you this, if I'm a small business looking to stay open, I need my staff. And there's cost benefits on the health premiums. If I'm a college or a school, I need to teach the next generation. I don't think anybody's talked about it yet, but we're going to have a significant brain drain here coming up. There's a bubble coming. My wife's a 5th grade teacher, so I'm speaking on her behalf. They're doing remote. Don't even get me going. I know it's not a political forum. But ultimately, you've really got to combine all of those things. You really have to understand, what is the thing you can do to do the thing you should do as your patriotic duty? As safely as possible, open up the business, give people jobs so they can feed their families, so they can buy your stuff. Repeat, repeat, repeat. It's not this or, it's a ecosystem we live in, right? You take out half of the pie, it ain't gonna work. You need the entire train track. You need the entire circle and cycle. I know that's a very long answer, but it's important.
So as we listen to a couple of more questions, Timothy, we're going to kick off the polling questions that you submitted and give people an opportunity to respond.
Oh, nice.
But we could, in the meantime, we could take a few more questions.
I have
we
one.
got about. Go ahead.
First about language in the area that we serve. That's a question. Also, whether we are going to have some relationship to the Blue Cross Blue Shield that we have, or Medicare, or are having to deal with records of our past and all those natural things that happen. And if worse comes to worse, the exposure of yourself in a medium that could be misused.
I'm not sure what you mean about the last one, but I'm going to answer the first two. Language, we support English and Spanish. Our next target is Korean, then Russian. And we expand on that. So one of our partners, a big partner, is a small company called Google. Another one is a little one you've heard of, maybe AWS. So we support their platforms. English and Spanish are done, both printed and through the devices or in the applications. In terms of insurance, that's interesting. And I could do a whole class, meaning a whole day, on Medicare versus Medicaid versus Medicare Advantage versus supplemental versus commercial. But I'll simplify it on the chronic illness side. Medicare covers this as a benefit and has since January 1, 2019. Basically, the way it works is your doctor, your provider, nurse practitioner, physician's assistant, medical doctor, they're the gatekeepers. So if I have Medicare and my doctor and a chronic illness, my doctor can order this, right? They can order it. And what happens is they'll bill for this service from Medicare. Medicare cover most, if not all of the costs. We'll get that equipment procured to that patient. Usually we work with care coordination companies. Part of that remote patient monitoring service, which is fantastic, is it covers technology. But again, technology without care coordination is just a doorstop, right? Just being honest. I'm a nurse more than I'm a technology guy. But it also covers dedicated care coordination for that beneficiary at least 20 minutes every month. So imagine for a moment, if you're a Medicare beneficiary, you got CHF, yeah, you see your doctor, maybe you see a doctor once a month, right? But if you want to talk to somebody about how you're feeling, right now, your only real option is to call the doctor's office, make an appointment. Instead, the doctor can use this system. And there's companies dedicated that are really good at this. Right on the button, right in the box, there's a button, and you hit that button, you're in touch with their 24/7 call center. You have a nurse or a care coordinator assigned to you. They can see all your data, they can talk and walk you through it, and then they can escalate to the doctor as needed. So the reason the government did that is they're tired of everybody calling their doctor at 3 a.m. and the answering service tells them to go to the emergency room. Costs a bunch of money, doesn't really help anybody, but emergency rooms like it. So really the government said, wait a minute, we're gonna change that paradigm. Let's see if we can do care coordination through these lower cost services, and it works. They've been expanding it. Now on the commercial side, that's a little tougher. You have to be contracted with them. Medicare Advantage is, even though it's Medicare based, is a form of commercial insurance. Often it has the same benefits, but I can't guarantee it because there's lots of different Medicare Advantage plans. Supplemental will cover the same benefits as Medicare, but there can be variation in terms of benefit amount on a given code. So we could go on, like I said, insurance, we could go on, and I didn't create the insurance system. I just hate it. And then Medicaid is a state-sponsored plan, of course, and depends on the state you're in to know whether or not it's covered. And that's something your doctor can work with. That's something, you know, we can help your doctor understand. These guys are expert at this now, these guys and gals, because they've been beaten up by our very complex and nuanced health insurance system for a long, long, sad time. And then, sir, the last question, I guess I wasn't sure I didn't understand it. Can you repeat that?
Maybe if you had to expose yourself so that a doctor can tell what's wrong with you, it's done in cameras, I assume. Is that going to be a problem when you're dealing with it electronically?
No, so not if done right. I'm changing my answer of it, not if done right. I'm also the HIPAA compliance officer. So I spend a lot of my time on answering the basics behind your question. There are compliant ways to do this. The government understands it's necessary. So think about it like this. If you don't feel good, you might have allergies. You might have the flu. This happened to me. You might have COVID, right? But if you don't feel good, the idea is telehealth allows you, or telemedicine allows you to talk to somebody or to get that visual with a doctor remotely. You haven't exposed anybody yet. During that consultation, you get a sense, okay, am I really sick? Well, literally, I did this back in December. I used our Pocket MD. We provided that telehealth, telemedicine, COVID piece to our staff since February. We've had only one case of somebody having COVID. We've had no transmission at all. So we basically survey them at home. And if they don't feel good or there's any issue, the supervisor knows. There's a conversation. They talk to a doctor remotely, so they're not exposing anybody. And then based on that doctor's recommendation, not electronic caregiver, right? Not you, the employer, but on a doctor or provider's recommendation, an expert who keeps track of all of the interactions, right? Because HIPAA's involved. They'll recommend. And sometimes it's go get tested. Sometimes it's go see your brick and mortar doc. It might even be go to the emergency room, but the idea is about 80% of the time, you're fine. Fun fact, about 80% of the time, you're okay. You're really okay. You may not feel good, but you're probably okay and you're probably going to get over it. Today, without a service like that, 100% of the time, you may go to urgent care. Again, as an employer, that's expensive, or as a patient, you might get sick waiting in the waiting room with the other, one of the 100 that might have COVID. You can't avoid all risk. So the idea is good, better, best. What's the best way to do it to minimize risk? And then in terms of privacy, that's something that all organizations are all over. There's specific laws. I could do a class on that too, but you would hate me, so I won't. But there is a way to do it. You do it right. It's perfectly okay. Did that hit all the buttons on that last one, sir?
Thank you.
You're
Yes.
very, very welcome.
Hey, Timothy, it's probably a good opportunity to go over those polling questions. And we have about 61% of our attendees voting. And we could share some of those results and we could go over it. Are you able to see those questions on the screen, Timothy?
I am, yes. So the first question, what percentage of money is spent on chronic illness? So 37%, 7 of you got it right. That is a phenomenal number. I want that to sink in. It's a $3 trillion, 3 with a T, trillion dollar health system in our country. Now, I should have asked the question, what percentage of our healthcare dollar is spent on prevention? But everybody would have been even angrier than you are right now. So 80% roughly 80% of all healthcare dollars go to management of chronic illness. Staggering, disgusting. It's disgusting.
Could you please say your contact information again? 'Cause I didn't catch it earlier.
Yeah, I'll throw it in the chat if that's okay. I'll send my email and my phone. Now, next question, when was the first use of telehealth? So when I first read this, and I'm in the business, I'm like, oh, no way. Guess what? You got it right. The U.S. Coast Guard first used a radio, a voice, to do telehealth, telemedicine in 1879. So when people say to me, oh my God, telehealth is so cool, I'm like, yep. You know it's been cool for 141 years? Yeah. Widespread use, obviously, later than that. It was a good idea that should take on, but there's a lot of ignorant people in the world, especially in healthcare leadership, not being political, being honest. What percentage of treatment failures are caused by non-adherence? 6, now these are estimates. 6 of you got it right. It's about 50%. So I applaud, this is one example where I guess we're a little better than what most people thought. But it's about 50%. Now, I want to caution real quick. Non-adherence is not, by itself, a function of patients being unwilling to do the right thing. If I say to you, everybody with chronic illness should do telemonitoring, I am being correct. Forget about payment for a minute. If you have high blood pressure, monitor my blood pressure every day, you should do. It makes sense. But if I make it really hard, if I make it...
Hey, Tim. Okay, yeah, I think we got you muted there. We were getting a lot of static on our side. maybe try unmuting yourself again, come back. Let's see if it's better.
Is that any better?
No, it's still pretty rough.
This might be this might be a breaking point. Timothy, thank you so much for speaking with us. It's very interesting how this is all changing. It's changing very rapidly, and we should start seeing this technology everywhere we go. It's part of what we're seeing now. And thank you so much for presenting at Rotary. And guys, if you have an opportunity to stop by this Plaza Hotel or the Amber Restaurant, and as promised, we're gonna do the giveaway for 2 for lunch. You guys make sure you call me. I'll join you guys for lunch. Have a drink with you guys. We'll invite Timothy and our guests and our fellow Rotarians. So I'm not sure if we're quite ready here, Arlene, to do the raffle, but the winning, it's a lunch for 2 for the Amber Restaurant. Does not include your alcoholic beverages, but they'll be on you. So Arlene, I'm not sure if you're ready, but
Yes.
do we have a winner already?
Okay, I'm gonna. Okay,
All right.
the winner.
No funny business, okay?
Okay, I don't know whose name. I guess we'll go with Nick Tashanka.
Nick, congratulations on the giveaway. Lunch for 2, Amber Restaurant, the Plaza Hotel.
His phone number only was there for a little while. Could he put it a little bit longer so we can write it down?
Yeah, I'll read it off. It's 575-528-8809.
Thank you.
Guys, another announcement here, and everybody, this is a very special announcement. It's my understanding that somebody here, a participant, has been 10 years with Rotary. So will the culprit, I believe it's a 10-year anniversary, and the culprit, please, you can't hide. I see you hiding.
Yay, Arlene!
Congratulations, Arlene.
Way to go,
10-year
Arlene.
anniversary.
Thank you.
You rock, Arlene.
Let's go ahead and if there's a way to unmute everyone and just give you a shout out.
Yeah.
Love
Couldn't do it without you.
Folks, next week is going to be another interesting program, and kudos to Mark getting this lined up. We got Bob Moore next week, President and CEO of El Paso Matters. You guys are following him on social media and everything he's doing. Very interesting stuff being published. Very excited to have Bob Moore next week. And speaking of social media, you guys, after this call, everybody get on our Facebook, like, share. The Public Image Committee is doing a tremendous job uploading videos, sharing content, just letting the world know who we are. So make sure you like, share, comment, and all of our meetings are being uploaded. So with that, I'm going to look for the bell. If here it is. All right, guys. So Rotarians, as you go on your week, look into ways to open opportunities. And remember, Rotary opens opportunities. Meeting adjourned. See you guys next week. Adios.
Thank you.